to the ATV Forum, amateur television. Do we have any active ATVers in the crowd? Ooh. The rest of you all interested in ATV but haven't gotten there yet, right? How many of you are in the audience who don't know what the heck this is all about?
Good, then we did the right program for you.
We got the right program now. Okay, my name is Art Towsley. I'm WA8RMC. They say I'm the moderator, so here we go. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I'm an active ATV on a number of different bands, but we didn't come here to talk to me. Well, I would like to see what everybody else has got to say. What I'd like to do is that I will introduce, where's Darko? There he is, okay. I'm gonna introduce a friend of mine from Austria that came all the way just to see the ATV Forum. And that then I have a little slide presentation to just a few minutes. And then finally, we're gonna have Mike Collis, WA6SVT, talk a little bit about digital TV and his adventures on Pitcairn Island in the South Pacific. And they've got a digital TV station there that he built from ground up, and that it'd be interesting to listen to that. But let's first, for Darko, he doesn't speak a lot of English, so he asked whether I would summarize a little bit of what he wanted to say, and then I'll let him make some comments afterwards. So that this is just a little bio that he had prepared. And then basically he said he passed his amateur radio exam in April 1976 in Yugoslavia. He's been involved with electronics since the 5th grade of elementary school and with amateur television since 1982 with call sign YU2RZN. In 1991 in Austria, he installed the first mountaintop FM TV repeater, OE7XL, at over 7,000 feet. Over the next 15 years, he built 4 more FM TV repeaters and the 9A, DL, and OE sites. He's socially minded and always helped those interested in ATV. However, he was focused mostly on helping unknown radio amateurs. At the time, there was only one manufacturer worldwide of DVB-T receivers and transmitters with a bandwidth below 6 megahertz. They were overpriced, and the receiver PCBs cost US $400, and transmitter PCBs over US $1,000, and still had to be installed in enclosures. He wanted to be a more affordable receiver around US $100 with the capability to receive signals down to 1 megahertz bandwidth. After many Skype meetings and inquiry emails with China manufacturing brokers worldwide, he received a crucial email pointing to a very young high-des company. As a volunteer, he supported high-des for almost 14 years, practically since its founding, advising and recommending things that be interesting for amateur radio operators. He's been to high-des in Taiwan 5 times, known the people there, and is the 18th team member. When he started advising, high-des had only the UT100 and USB stick, which was their initial product, I believe. At high-des, his recommendations for DVB projects include development of standalone devices and bandwidths less than 6 megahertz. Years later, development and support for a 2.4 gigahertz up converter, BU500, and development of a 10 gigahertz down converter. Last year, he provided development support for 23 and 13 centimeter multipliers and 10 gigahertz power amplifiers. This year, latest small project is a video level regulator to provide 1 volt peak-to-peak output to allow old FM TV satellite receivers to be compatible with the new ICOM IC905 transceivers. Future plans include a 7-band standalone 900 megahertz to 24 gigahertz FM TV transmitter compatible with the IC905 FM TV transceiver. Okay, the facts. 6 years ago, ATV was only about 15% of the high-des business. Currently, ATV accounts for less than 1% of high-des business, so it's diminishing quite a bit. Therefore, they are no longer very interested in the amateur radio business. Only through Darco's good contact with high-des management, they are still able to produce any ATV equipment. So Darco's heading that ball game for us. If we can't find some interesting products for high-des that will generate larger scales, we won't be able to get new products from them. So Darco asked if you have any new ideas for new products, please let him know. So Darco?
Yep. Thank you.
Is that
Everything
good?
say, yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you for time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, what I've got is that he's working with Taiwan on some new products. I've built a new receiver that I won't go into any detail here, other than the fact that I've worked with a company here in California, a company Silicon Dust. They make the HD home run box. If some of you may have heard of that box. It's commercially available for use with regular commercial television when you've got the connected to your home antennas. It's an antenna coordinator. I even have the home run box here connected to my TV. But there is a possibility of using the home run box as a custom DATV receiver. And so they've worked with us. The owner of the business said that he worked with me on producing that. He changed the firmware to the standard box, and I would add an app to it to make a product that's useful for 70 centimeter DATV equipment, or low bandwidth, 1 to 6 megahertz bandwidth. Let's see, how can I change this here?
You have to pull out of that. But the picture of it's in this one. If you want to put it on a slide, you'd have to drop the slide.
Well, the slide's in there.
Yeah, we'll get to it on, when I do that, it'll show if you want. Or
Okay.
you can scan down.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Go down,
to-
just hit the clicker and go down the slides till you get it. You might have to use your clicker for that, just click down. Yeah. Just keep advancing on the slides, you'll get to it.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, keep going. Keep going. It's staying stuck.
Okay, now it's stuck.
There you go, there you go. Go one more, I think is yours. There you
Okay.
go.
Sorry about that, guys. That's a picture of the home run box. I brought one with me, and the bad news is it's still sitting on my desk at home. So, but that's what the box looks like. And basically what you connect that box to your antenna, and the output of the box is an Ethernet that connects to the standard router or to your home Wi-Fi network. Most people have a Wi-Fi network. I can talk about other arrangements. If you don't have a network, it's easy enough to buy a router and create one or whatever. But it's a simple network. On the output of it is that you can connect to your home network and watch everything on your standard TV or on the computer monitor. Okay, why doesn't it? There. What essentially is a real simple block diagram. They got an antenna that goes to the home run box. The home run box output goes into the Ethernet port of your computer, and you've got a computer that connects to it. That's the whole thing right there. Now, the good news is that when we have that, it needs to have a special app to work with it so we can do it a custom app. Now, as it turns out, here comes AI. What I was able to do with AI is tell AI, Gemini, here's what I want. And give me a receiver that is on one display and give all the parameters that I want. Hit the go button, and it took about 5 minutes, and the AI generated all the code required to run that receiver, and it ran. I didn't have to write one line of code. The whole thing ran as is. I said, okay, AI, now we've got a picture on the screen. I'd like a signal report bar, and put a bar below the screen that tells me what the signal level is. No problem, sir, done. 30 seconds, I've got a bar down there that shows it in percentage of signal. I said, uh-oh, AI, I really want this in decibels, in dBm. No problem, we'll do it, and 10 seconds later, I've got a bar that says the dBm. Now, would you do this in multiple colors? For real low signal levels, make it red. Higher signal levels, make it yellow. Strong signal levels, make it green. Okay, you got it. Now, the message here is this is customizable with AI at the consumer level. Well, I don't have to write any code for it. It's automatic. So I won't go any further than that as I present this. I'm working with the development. Be more information later. You can check with the at booth 103 and 104. We can describe it a little further. But I'm at the preliminary stage. Price, you must ask. Don't know yet. It'll work down to minus 105 dBm, which is better than some of the high-des stuff is today. So it's very, very sensitive. And so now we're getting into a cost situation. Not going to try and quote anything, but they said that to buy that, we're going to try and make it under $200. So you end up with a complete receiver that's customizable with AI for less than $200. So that's it from me. I want to go on to another one and let Mike handle that with his experiences with Pitcairn Island.
Yeah, and the ATV.
And
Yeah, the ATV, they're welcome to ATV thing.
what do you mean? Well,
Yeah, it's starting with the ATV program, because that's what they're here for.
Right.
There's time left after the big Karen stuff. Yeah.
is that where you want to start?
At the beginning. Keep going.
Right there?
Yep.
Okay. You want me to click it, huh?
Oh, I got it. Where's the up and down on the clicker?
There.
Okay,
I found it.
All right.
Sorry for the informal part of it.
Okay, Mike WA6SVT when I'm in the US and GP6MC when I'm down on Pitcairn Island. So we'll start with the amateur television because that's what everybody's here for. And you know this guy here, Art, on the front there? This is some, there's older ATV equipment. Some may remember the old PC electronics equipment, but I wanted to show what's available today new. The upper left is a DVB-T receiver from High-Des, and it's multiple bandwidth, it's digital. On the right is a little power amplifier, and to the right is another modulator that High-Des has, and it's the typical camcorder. It doesn't matter if it's Sony or any of the other brands. And then below is the new ICOM IC905. On the left is in the ATV mode, that's on 2 gigahertz, which is an input frequency to some of our linked repeaters in California. We also have a 70 centimeter input, both analog and digital there. And to the right is the little RF head unit and the tripod. This was set up at a Hamvention in Big Bear, California a couple of years ago. This is the receiver that Art already showed you. It does have it's a European model of the box he's talking about, so it has what's called a pallet connector, and you can only buy the adapter to F connector. They don't even sell pallet connectors in the US, but you can get them overseas if you want to put it on coax. And then Art already showed you the block diagram with the HD box in the upper left and in your home router and computers, because it's designed to work in a network. And you can have the US box and get all your US channels and have the ATV go anywhere in the house and get it. So saw it at his house, he had it set up that way, it was pretty cool.
Well, I forgot to
Yeah.
tell them that that's
Yeah.
a quad display range.
Yeah, it's also a quad display. You know, with SDR type stuff, you can make it do almost anything, except wash the dishes.
Question,
Yeah,
so you say there's a European version and American version, does the American version do ATSC?
yeah, the American version is set up for ATSC 1.0 and 3.0. The European version has DVB-T and Darko, what's the later DVB-T, the enhanced one? 2, DVB-T2, and it might have 3.0, but I'm not sure. But anyway, you need two separate hardware, so your US box can't be reprogrammed to do it because the chipset inside has circuits designed for DVB-T, which is a different type of modulation, because US is 8 VSB modulation, European is OFDM.
So the home run box that he talked about was the US version, because it worked on US
No.
TVs?
The US version works on over-the-air television in the US, Canada, Mexico. You need the European version, which is used in Australia, New Zealand, and the EU countries, and Great Britain.
Right, I don't live there, I'm here.
Yeah, but you can order stuff. Art's gonna import those here, so you'd be able to order them from him if everything works out right.
But I want to be able to transmit to US TVs.
We don't use 8 VSB, it's a really cruddy system. I was a broadcast engineer for KCBS Channel 2 in LA before I retired, and it does not work mobile, and that's why they did ATC 3.0. It is so bad that they switched to 3.0, which is OFDM like DVB-T, but has a layered track. I don't want to get into all the broadcasts, we're kind of out of time. You can come to the booth, we can talk details there or after here. Don't mean to be rude, just trying to get everything through. Okay, this is a basic block diagram for DVB-T where you have the camcorder, your modulator, which is also an exciter, and then an RF power amplifier.
I just wanted to answer your question, is the box that I'm gonna be selling, is the European version of that box, because of the frequency coverage. They're gonna modify it in firmware just for our application, so it's gonna be just for DATV on the 70 centimeters.
Yeah, so the European box has a special part, so even if you bought one from Europe, it may or may not tune directly. Okay, down the bottom here for your receiver, optional preamplifier antenna, the receiver like I showed in the other slide, and then some sort of TV or monitor. Okay, here's some pictures of some different ham shacks showing an ATVer. We got K0PFX over in the St. Louis area. He runs DVB-T, and he's got more gear than most hams have in their shack. Down the lower left is W6KBC, and that's in his RV, and he takes that portable. And then we've got KH6HTV in Boulder, Colorado to the right. And next we have WB6HYH. He's the president of the California ATN chapter. He's running FM video on 2.4 gigahertz with about 30 watts to hit the repeater. And get the next slide. Antenna systems. Well, do I use omni or directional? Obviously, directional is better. If you're close to another station, omni will still work. And you could get started with omni, you're going to be a lot happier with antennas. And it's just in the case of 70 centimeters, which I showed here on the left, which is my antenna array in California with the tower that's up in a tree about 126 feet. To the right is K0PFX. This is a zoomed in shot on his big tower. And he's got the 70 centimeter antenna on the top, and below is his 2 meter Yagi. Here's another antenna, microwave dish from a remote truck, which we have out in California, which is set up for ATV. To the right is VHF antenna, VHF UHF antenna system, and it shows the 434 megahertz dual Yagis he uses there, and then his dish for, that's the same guy, Tom, that had the 2.4 gigahertz, and that's his dish that he aims into the repeater. Here's a picture of a little more detail on the ATV van. It's an old ABC News truck that we converted to ATV, new paint job. And then we did a dual band feed on the dish and then a little 5 gig dish above, but it's set up to work our repeaters in California. And we take it out to ham clubs to do demos and stuff for ATV. Here's some other stations. This is up at the ATV booth that's up here. This was from a couple years ago. And we have a station set up there, and you want to see it live, come to the booth and you'll see it in detail, and just pick up truck and a couple of poles, and we're able to get to the repeater up in Huber Heights that belongs to the Dara group. What else can you use ATV for besides showing your shack, bragging your home videos to your friends? You can use it for emergency operations. This is the EOC in Boulder, Colorado. And then in the video screen that's in there, they're showing, I think that's the Sunshine Fire just above Boulder. And if you notice, everybody's looking at what the hams are doing because they're giving them the video of how the progress of the fire is. Here's some fires out in California, and the lower screen is Mount Wilson, and that's a feed from the Mount Wilson Observatory, which I picked up and put on the repeater for the fire folks, and the fire is burning up. That kind of bluish light is where the ATV repeater's at. It's getting close, and that's the TV station where I worked. And I was up there when this picture was taken. The upper right is Snow Peak. It's about an 8,000 foot site, and that's looking up on Mount San Gorgonio, which goes up to 10,000 feet. And this is with an infrared camera at night, which is at a repeater site, and we're giving this information to California OES, which deals with the fire. And that worked out pretty good. Okay, you probably have, how far can you talk on ATV or send pictures on ATV? Well, the record is from KH6HME. This is before he passed away. And this is from, and then you see the picture of it's a shed that belongs to Channel 2 over on Hilo, but it's up on the side of the Mauna Loa volcano. This is where his weak signal beacons are at. And so when the band conditions was good, he flipped the 432 beacon off, plugged in the ATV transmitter, which was an old PC Electronics and 100 watt amplifier running it down, reduced down to 50 watts so it didn't distort. And that's a picture picked up by Gordon West in Costa Mesa, California, 2,500 miles away. Next slide. And then here, sometimes you get tropospheric openings. You can work a couple 100 miles, 300 miles sometimes here too. What else can you do to extend the range of ATV? You can use a repeater. This is the big hub in California. This is Santiago Peak. It's a 220 duplexer. It's good. We've got a voice repeater there, and then the ATV repeater stuff to the left. You can see the monitors. And that plate, the big plate up at the top is a 600 watt amplifier for 1.2 gigahertz. We're on a 400 watts peak sync and a 12 DVD antenna. So we're multiple kilowatt ERP. So we're almost as strong as a broadcast station. If you have a, compared to, you've got really good receive, the house. There's a picture from Santiago Peak, what it looks like, and you notice on our output, we have 5910, so we're running 25 watts of 5910 into an Omni, and then vestigial sideband analog on 1253.25, and then the input 434, which is an analog input and a digital DVB-T. You'll take either one. And then the FM video on 2441.5, which allows the IC905 or any of the old video senders that you put a frequency board to get it right on 2441.5, add your amplifier, or just buy the IC905 and you can access the repeater. And there's other repeaters in California, Nevada, and Arizona that uses the same input scheme. This is the local repeater at Dayton. Picture of their antennas up at the top of the tower to receive and transmit, and their W8BI camera insignia that shows up on the repeater. And you can see more test patterns and stuff if you come to the booth. And that's at that slideshow. And then, let's see. How much time do we have, Art?
We got about 20 minutes ago.
Okay. Any questions on ATV before we jump into building a television station for Pitcairn Island? Boy, okay, I guess we did pretty good, or? Let's see.
I guess I did have one.
Yeah, let me get this started here. Yeah, go ahead.
What are you using the 1.2 gig for?
In California, we're using it for outputs. Here in the Midwest, a lot of the repeaters are using it for inputs because they traditionally had 70 centimeter repeater outputs. Although there's some repeaters that also have a 1.2 gigahertz output. All just depends on the local area on the repeaters.
How many ATV repeaters are there in the Southern California area?
Let's see, in our system, which includes one in Las Vegas, we have 8 linked by microwave. Okay, this is, oh, I don't have it started yet. Yep. Okay, here's Pitcairn Island, and even though it's VP6 for amateur, the prefix by ITU rules is ZB for Pitcairn Island. So they used to have an old shortwave station, ZBP, P for Pitcairn. So it's a TV station, and since they don't have an FCC, I'm kind of their FCC over there because I'm the head of IT and telecom. Well, we'll call it ZBTV. So it says so most of the people bought smart flat screen TVs from New Zealand because our supplies come from New Zealand. I went with the New Zealand channel plan, went to the Island Council, said I need 506 megahertz approved, which is channel 25, 8 megahertz bandwidth. Basically rubber stamp, here you go. And so we'll get this started. This is our programming is ABC Australia, and then we have the Pacific Island feed, which has 2 hours a day of shows from different Pacific Islands that produce television, in addition to all the ABC. And it's not connected with ABC America, it's Australia Broadcasting Company. So even though Australia is a long ways away from the island, but it's on C-band satellite, Intelsat 18, at parked at 180 degrees. I feed that into high-des exciter, the same one you see on ATV, so some of the pictures you see here, if you want to build your own amplifier, is exactly what you're going to do with ATV. This shows the programming on our regular TV set. Here's a C-band dish up at Chip's landing point to pick up the satellite, and it's where we're located, we're down pretty low on the horizon to hit that satellite. On the right is the high-des HV320 modulator. On the left is a homemade amplifier, and that used to be an ATV amplifier. I changed the RF brick to the next frequency range up to get up to 506 megahertz. Say again?
Looks like it came out of a Gates Air Harris.
No, I built it. I had heat sink and a die-cast box. It's not anybody else's box. Now, I forgot to take a picture after I cleaned the flux off the board. But anyway, this is the brick, and if you do it in ATV, there used to be a brick, it was 1 digit different. Instead of 440 to 520 megahertz ATV, you typically use the one that goes down, was it 410 or whatever, up to 440 or up to 450. But the brick looks exactly the same. But if you want to build your own, that's how you put it together. And your RF comes in on the left, the output comes on the right, 12 volts, good heat sink, cooling fan. I put some protection stuff in there, a Zener diode in case the voltage spikes too high, just to protect stuff. Okay, years ago, they used to have a minister on their Seventh-day Adventist church who was an electronics guy. He'd bought an old ATV transmitter and converted it to channel 21, but lightning hit it and burnt it out. That's how I got involved in it. So when I first went to Pitcairn as a visitor with my family. I heard that they had it and I found out it was broken. Oh, I could fix it, I could fix it. Then I thought later, Mike, you idiot, you don't even know what's broken with it. What parts are you gonna take? No, I built, let's just build a digital transmitter, throw it in the backpack, and take it out there and put it in. So that's what I did. Oh, I did fix the analog transmitter. I was a bad fuse. But the antenna had fallen over. It was on guy wires and stuff. So I took it all apart, every little part, cleaned it all up, repainted the radome and everything and the metal parts. And this is an old, I have a better VNA now. That the SWR was really low. It covers the low end of the UHF and 1.12 across the whole lower UHF band, and then 1.1 to 1 when I tweaked everything right at channel 25's frequency. And there's me with the floppy hat, and we have the antenna assembled. This is on a mast right up at Chip's landing point. The gentleman in the orange suit is the island engineer, Jay Warren, and he's one of the Mutiny Mountaineer, descendants. And me and they do things different. They don't have a bucket truck, so we have a forklift with a platform and a step ladder on that. If OSHA was around, I would be dead meat. But we don't have OSHA there because we're a different country. Here's a view just standing at ground level at the edge at Chip's Landing Point, looking down over Adamstown. And so that's the coverage. I covered the homes there. This is a picture, no, this is 8 megahertz wide. Your ATV would be 6 meg or 2 meg wide, but this is what a DVB, and this is why I put it, because now there's a little more technical on TV, but this is what a digital signal will look like. This is called a haystack, so your peaks of your signal are all up on the top. You've got the grass down the bottom, and at about 150 kilohertz above the bottom of the channel and below the top of the channel is where it drops off. Next, and that's after the amplifier. So I try to make things very low distortion, which means if it's a 10 watt transfer, I usually drive it at 8.5 just to keep the distortion low. This is the, this rack here, the US government has, USGS has an earthquake monitor, and that's all the equipment below, but the black unit is the satellite receiver, and then you see the little box, the heatsink fin, that's the transmitter, and in the high-des box you sit. I've since added another rack shelf since this picture was taken to clean that gear up a little bit, but that's where the gear's at. There's the average power. You can see where it's 10 watts, and I'm about 8 1/3, 8.5 watts average power. And letter of thanks from the mayor when we installed that. We did that when we were on vacation, so All right. This is a not sunset, but sunrise, looking roughly towards North America from Pitcairn Island. And so this is what I see in the morning from the rental house. And I'm building a house here pretty soon. And this is the property that I now own up on the island. I've already cleared it. I was down in the middle. There's more land behind. It goes up even higher, but that's the view of the water. And I've got a 260-degree view of the water. So I think that's it on the slideshow. Any questions about the TV station Pitcairn Island or about any detectable aspect? Because the TV transmitter is exactly the same as your ATV transmitter. Yes?
What's the population being served? How many people are watching?
Take a guess.
I have no idea. 35?
Pretty close. We've got 40, anywhere between 37 and about 45 on the island, depending on who's off visiting different people.
And what kind of follow-up? Are they all seeing the same quality, or is it?
Well, digital is you either have it or you don't. Just like your cell phone, digital cell phones,
Got
it works and it starts to chop out. Well, the
Lost
TV,
it.
same thing. It starts to block up, boom, gone. So it's not like analog where you gracefully have from snow-free to like just barely an analog TV. If you hear somebody say P0, did you just see sync bars? P1, you got a locked up picture and you can see some blocked call letters. You get P2, and that's what you saw with that Hawaii picture. P3, you start to get color. P4 is 5 or 10% snow. P5 is snow-free. You know,
What
yes.
is power from the island?
How much range are you getting, from that, 8 watt signal? How far away can people be?
Oh, the range?
Yeah.
Well, the island's only 2.2 miles long, so we cover the town. The ship to Silver Supporter doesn't have a marine antenna, but I took a piece of coax, plugged it in the TV, and threw it over the side of the ship, and I saw it. As long as the ship could see the ship's landing point, it worked. Yes.
So, how much, where does the island get its power from? Does it have a generator?
We have a combination of solar power with lithium battery banks. We got 3 of those units, 2 100 kilowatt brand new generators now, and we use the solar for the mains power. When the batteries get down, it calls for generator starts the generator, warms it, synchronizes it, boom, you get a little ding in the lights, and now you're on generator. And then it, when the sun comes out, it'll charge the batteries up. Normally, we make it all through the night on the battery banks. If it's been overcast or overcast part of the day, the generator might kick in at 2 or 3 in the morning.
And what do people do for work there? How do they live?
Well, there's some government jobs. I do IT and also general manager of shared services. We have people that maintain the roads. We have somebody that does the treasury that's open 3 days, 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours a day, 3 days a week. Same with the grocery store, you have workers there. And that's the Pitcairn Island Public Service. A lot of people have like businesses that they'll do honey, basket weaving, wood carvings.
Clearing trees.
Yeah, that's a, and then, and other, you know, items that they make for sale. When we have the cruise ship season and a cruise ship goes out, those locals at times will be out on that ship for 3 hours and have $8,000 American cash in their pot, some euros, but mostly American cash because that's what most of the ships tend to use. And there's no taxes, no property tax, sales tax, or income tax. That $8,000 is in their pocket, other than what it costs them to make the stuff. And if they use the local Merle wood, a few pieces of sandpaper, some lacquer for, and they make good money on that. Yes?
Question about the transmitter. So it takes HDMI in and then what it does?
The 320 will take either HDMI or analog video, either PAL or NTSC, and 3.5 millimeter jack for left and right channel audio on that modulator. Yes.
What's the latitude, south latitude? How far south is it?
We're about, Pitcairn's about 120, 150 miles south of the Tropic of Capricorn, so we're technically semi-tropical, or we're not, it seems more like the tropics, but we're not as humid and not as hot as Tahiti.
Like 65 degrees south or something?
No, I think we're 23,
Oh,
25, 20,
Okay.
no, 20,
Okay.
24, somewhere in there.
okay.
We're about as far down south as if you were about halfway down Baja California on the north. Yes.
What's the total population on the island?
Between about 37 and about 45. When we have our visitors, it's more, now there's a lot of islanders live off island in New Zealand and stuff, so like last Christmas, we had 61 people on the island, we thought it was crowded. Just to give you an idea, how much time we got?
Another 10 minutes.
Okay, just to give you an idea, there's a picture that's in our new public hall building, and it says traffic jam on Pitcairn Island. And it's a picture of the dirt area where you park your quad bikes outside the church on you know, Sabbath day. And you show them all packed up. Just, it's like a spoof on, you know, the traffic in the big cities. Yes?
What's the geographic coverage area of the repeaters in California that you mentioned? Are they linked? And
Yes.
is there any linkage into Arizona?
We were getting ready to link into Arizona. 2 things happened. The one thing is site rent is getting more expensive. A lot of the mom and pop shop, individual radio shops that own sites is getting less, and the big corporates are buying in. And nowadays, we're sending video to a lot of the other ATV groups around the country by IP video. So I think if we were probably gonna do it again, we would probably switch all the video to IP and just do linking to the internet and then some microwave links where you don't have internet available at a site just to get an IP channel. But that's the way the future. When I was at CBS, we still have an East Coast satellite, West Coast satellite feed. We got rid of the Midwest feed. We don't use that anymore. But to the affiliate stations and the CBS owned and operated stations, we use IP. We actually send the TV shows the night before, then you add the local commercials to it, and it's broadcast off the server. Everything's changing commercially. Doesn't mean you need to do that amateur-wise, but it opens opportunities for that. Yes?
Another social economic question. As nice as it sounds, what do you think keeps it from growing? You said 35, 40 some people?
Oh, you're talking about Pitcairn. Some of this is my opinion. It used to be in the old days, they learned secondary school on the island. Then they opened it, the British government opened it up and started paying for them to go down to a private boarding school, which is Longview School down in Palmerston North, which is just south of Auckland, about 70 miles. And it exposed the teenagers to life in New Zealand, like to the outside. I mean, you see the outside people, but you actually get to live in a city. Some of them get hooked in the city. Some of them found employment while they were in high school to make some extra money, or decided to go to college, maybe met a boyfriend, girlfriend, and they didn't want to go to the island. So I think that was one factor that thinned people out. Just because it was easier to get on and off the island. I think that's the biggest factor. Yes?
And so is there an airport there? And how do you get internet in that? Is that over a satellite?
And Starlink, just like you have Starlink here.
Okay.
In fact, we did with Elon Musk, when the Starlink first came in, you had an individual satellite that you reached, and you had to be, and the satellite could reach out up to about 300 miles at that altitude. It had to also be able to reach a base station to get into the fiber optic connections to, the servers. You didn't have that on Pitcairn. So we got 3 terminals. We set one up at the medical clinic, one at the administrator's office, and one at the police station. And so we tested that we could talk amongst ourselves, but nobody else. And then, and that was free because we were getting ready, and then they were adding the satellites. They had the laser links, and they started doing experiments with our island with the laser link. First, they tied 2 satellites together, and we went here and then over to the other, and they did all the testing. And then when they got to the 3rd satellite, then we could reach the base station in New Zealand. And after getting the bugs worked out of the system, they gave us half price for 1 year to actually have service. And then after that, then we paid a retail price. So that's where that started.
Yeah. Is
So
there
we-
an airport at all?
Okay, airports. Mangareva Island, which is in the Gambia Island Group, in French Polynesia, 320 miles away. You take the service ship. Now, if any of you, how many fly private aircraft? Okay, so you will all know about short takeoff and landing craft. Others may have heard of it. You could probably land a Carbon Cub or an old Piper Cub or any of the other, Kit Fox or any of the other short takeoff landing planes. The sports field's about 500 feet by 400 feet. One of the roads coming to it, going towards the edge of the island, where it's relatively flat, but it's going downhill slightly. The person doing the road, hey, can you get an extra foot or 2 wide on this side and this side? I now have about a 40, 50 foot wide strip. It's now, counting the sports fields, 800 feet. Because I took flying, I didn't take enough hours to get my private pilot's license. I'm gonna fly that, and land out there, but that's a whole other topic. Anyway, yes, any other questions? Yes?
I stayed with Stephen Allen, Stephen Allen.
Oh, over at their house at Big Fence?
Yeah, Big Fence, and that was in 2018.
Okay, what,
At that time, they're still paying the power that they,
yeah, they're still around. What year did you do that?
what drew me there?
No, what year were you there?
I'm thinking 2018.
Oh, okay, yeah, they're still there.
Yeah, Stephen Allen, but there's a lot of changes that have happened.
Well, we had the road at Hill, the difficulty was paved. Well, back in those days, when they first got internet, when the US government set up the earthquake system there, they went on a UHF satellite, similar to military satellites on UHF, and we had a 130, 140 kilobit line. and there was about 70 or 80 kilobit left, and that got shared amongst the islanders. Then they went, when we did Interstat 18, we had a 5 megabit line through Speedcast, which cost us $14,000 a month for that service. And then we had a LTE4 cell site that we put in, but not to talk to cell phones, because it was rebooting the servers on it, so we shut the cell phones. So cell phones didn't talk to it, but we had a little antenna in each house. And that's how we did, and it was a big step up. Then I mentioned earlier about the test for Starlink, 100 to 120 megabits down, 20, 25 up, just like you have here. We shut that other stuff off. And so now there's individual unit, Starlink units in everybody's house. Yes?
You got an XF station?
Yeah, I'm using, on the picture, I had here, I had an ICOM 706 Mark II. I still have that down there. But my main rig that I brought down the last trip was a Yaesu FT 1000 MP Mark V. And I've got a 3-element monobander. It's the old 20-meter beam they used on VP6R, the Expedition that was down there. So it gets out pretty good. Yes?
Yeah, what booth are you folks in here at Hamvention?
1003, 1004.
Thank you. Everybody heard that? Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
Can we go back to the picture that started with the amplifier?
Yeah, if there's time, I'll try to get back to it here. Any other questions while I'm trying to get back to it? Or did you need to wrap up? Art?
We're gonna need to wrap up.
Oh, we're gonna need to wrap up.
We got about 4 minutes.
Come to the booth, I'll put it on the laptop, and if you want to see more detail, come to our booth and I'll. Yeah, it's the building all the way out, the far building and near the corner. We're right across for BridgeCon.
Maxim building, building
Yeah, the
4.
Maxim building. Okay, over to you, Art, thanks.
Yeah, building, I think it's building number 1,
No, building number 4,
4, okay.
I think.
Yeah,
No,
well,
no, no, okay.
in
Sorry, it's building
summary,
one.
in
Building
summary, thank you very much for your attention. I'm working on that receiver. If you're interested in that receiver, I call it the Versatune Mini. See me at the booth 1003, 1004. We can talk about it a little further. But and I didn't mention when I was talking about that receiver is the fact that it's got 4 channels in this receiver. There's 4. It can receive 4 TV signals simultaneously and display them all on the screen. As a matter of fact, I asked AI when we got it first up and running, I said, well, this is fine, but AI, can you make this a 4-screen view? Yes, we can. And about 15 seconds later, up comes a 4-screen thing with a menu at the top that says you can select 1, 2, 3, or 4 views. And so that you can select up to 4 video sources on the thing, all generated by AI. And that, so it makes a real nice receiver for a very low cost. I haven't finalized the cost on it yet.
Give us an idea.
It's under, they told me at this point in the discussion, under $200 for a 4-channel unit. And that, that gives you a receiver that's more sensitive than anything else on the market today.
What about the transmitter board? How much is that?
Transmitter board, I've got a transmitter board that I did 10, 12 years ago, called the DATV Express board. I think we got $350 for it originally, and we lowered the price to a point where the Pluto board and the Lime board was introduced at a much lower price, really cut us out of the market, and the volume went down, so we just said, we're not gonna build this anymore. I am in some discussions or possibility of revisiting that issue to come up with a universal transmitter board for DVB-T and DVB-S combined on the same board, but not finished yet.
And the high-des modulators, like the 320 is about $300 US, and then the 100, 102 series modulators is about $450 to $500. And it's all it's plug and play.
Anybody doing any analog ATV yet?
We still got analog.
I'm still maintaining the analog transmitter at our repeater in Columbus, Ohio.
And same with
And
Dayton.
Dayton has got their analog also. So analog is simple, it's inexpensive, and if that's the way you'd like to go to get a picture, great.
Do the
I support
present
it.
TVs?
What's that?
Do the present TVs that you can buy decode analog?
I believe so. The last time I checked, they did. I haven't bought a TV in the last 3 years, but at the time I bought the last TV, if you put it in the CATV mode,
Right.
plug an external antenna, and it's gonna ask you digital or analog. You're gonna be DVB-C for cable, for digital, for analog, it will be, analog. And where you get the snow on the screen, or
Will it
go
be
blue screen if there's no.
NTSC then?
Yes, yes. And when you're in the cable TV mode, allows you to tune the 70 centimeter band.
Right.
Not 1.2, but 70 centimeters. Okay.
Hey, Art, make the announcements, building 1, Maxim building, where we're at.
We're in building 1.
Yeah, building 1.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, I called out building 4, sorry about
Okay,
that.
no, it's building 1. It's the far westmost building, large building. As soon as you enter the garage door, we're the second booth on the left.
I think we're out of time.
Sure, go ahead.
What language is your AI coding in?
Language,
What computer language is your AI coding in?
Python.
Okay.
The AI developed everything in Python. I don't think I had a choice in that. They just did it in Python and gave me the Python code. And what I had to do with that code is put it in, there's another Visual Studio, Visual something, I forget which it is, that compiles it and gives you reproducible code. But it was something that, I am not a coder, and I couldn't do anything other than follow the instructions, and it comes out and everything worked. Now then, the advantage here is somebody that has absolutely no software experience. On consumer level, you can make your own custom version very easily.
Yeah, we're out of time.
Okay, thank you very much.